Okay, so today we're finally going to start chapter 4. So take a big old page here. And I'll write out the number 4. Okay, so chapter 4, and chapter 4 is all about functions. I really think chapter 4 is just a continuation of what we did before, the slope and the y-intercept and all of that, but it just has a little bit more stuff that we haven't necessarily covered in that chapter. So here we go. Dog ear that. If you want to keep that in your notebook so you can find chapter 4 easily. So 4.1 is going to be all about functions. Ooh, my nails are terrible. Look at that. I don't know why I just showed you that. Okay, domain. Domain is known as the independent variable. You hear that a lot in science. It's the independent variable. The way that we like to think of it in math is it's all of the x's. Okay, so remember in graphs we have x's and y's, so domain is just all of the x's. Range is the dependent variable. For all of the y's. Okay, range and domain is probably the easiest part of this whole chapter. But, sorry, it's late. We have to be kind of specific whenever we write these out. So here's my little note. When listing domain and range, you list them in order, least to greatest, and don't repeat any numbers. Okay, so pause this if you didn't get that down. But you have to list them from least to greatest, and if there's a repeat, you don't list it more than once. Okay, so example number 1. State the domain and range. State the domain and range. So we got this weird, that's called a bracket or brace, I can't really remember. We got 2, 6. We got -4, -8. -3, 6. And 0, -4. And then we end it with a brace. Okay, so first we're going to list the domain. All you have to do is put D equals, and then you have to use a little brace thing. Now we're looking at all of our x's. Okay, so we got 2, -4, -3, and 0. Those are all of our x coordinates, because remember, x is the one that comes first. We have to list them in order from least to greatest. So which one's the least out of this? -4, then -3, then 0, and then 2. End it with a brace, and that's your domain. Range is just as easy. Start it with a brace, you're looking at the second number, all of your y's. So we got 6, -8, 6, and -4. The smallest one here is -8. Then it goes to -4, and then it has 6. Now I don't write 2 6's, I just write it once. It will count it wrong if you put 2 6's there, so just put 1 6. All right, that's it. Example number 2. State the domain and range has a table, graph, and list. So once you have this written down, I want you to ask your sub, or maybe they've already given it to you, for a graph that looks like this, because you will need that. So pause this and go get that graph. Okay, first we're going to make it as a table, just your normal XY chart. Dang it, it would be helpful if you actually had the list, wouldn't it? Okay, here's your list. 1, 5, -2, -4, 2, 5, and 0, -4. Sorry. Okay. So we're just making an XY chart, and we're just listing our points in an XY chart. So 1 here, 5 here, -2 here, -4 there, 2, 5, and then 0, -4. Okay, so that's it as a table. I literally just piece these apart, still have them side by side because I have to go with each other to make a point. The order doesn't really matter on a table. Okay, so now I'm going to make my list, put these in order. So -2, 0, 1, and 2. My range would be only 1, -4, and only 1, 5. That's it on that. Okay, so now I'm just going to graph these points. So go ahead and graph them on your own. I'll graph them, check, and then we'll move on to the next part. So 1. All right, that is where your points should be. So go ahead and glue or tape that down. I had to convert to Glue Gang because I don't have any tape at home. Okay. So now that's domain and range. Now we're actually going to learn what functions are. Okay, functions. It's a type of relation. Anytime you have numbers together, you're talking about relations. So that's just what that means. In which each element of the domain is paired with exactly one element of the range. Okay. I know it's really confusing. It makes zero sense. I'm going to show you some examples and hopefully it'll clear some things up. Most of the time, whenever you're talking about functions, you're talking about mapping. Okay, so I know this makes no sense, but this is just how it goes. So it will have x, and let's do 10, 20, 30, and 40. Make it easy. And they always put them in a circle. And then they have their y's, and let's do 15, 25, 35, and 45. They always put those in a circle. Okay, and then they tell us what each one is paired with. So like, let's say 10, 15 would be a point, 20, 35 would be a point, 30, 25 would be a point, and then 40, 45. So we have all of our points. Each element, so each one of these is mapped to specifically one of these. Okay, I think of it like this because element that it's mapped, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think about it as my x's as burgers and my y as their price. So these are 4 different burgers and they have 4 different prices. Can that make sense in the world? Yes, that can make sense in the world. So this is a function. Okay, let's do another one. Let's just use the same numbers here. And I'm going to do something different on the y's here. We're just going to use 15, 25, and 35 on the y's. So essentially we have 2, one of them is 2. I don't know which one. So 10 is just going to go over here to 15. 20 is going to go to 25. 30 is also going to go to 25. And 40 will go to 35. So we ask, is this a function? I ask myself, can I have 4 different burgers with 3 different prices? So essentially this burger and this burger have the same price. Is that possible? Yes, that's possible to have 2 different burgers that have the same price. So both of these are functions. Okay, both of those work for functions. Here's one that doesn't work for a function. Let's do 10, 20, 30. And my y's would be 15, 25, 35, and 45. So 10 to 15, 20 to 25, 30 goes to 35 and to 45. So I asked myself the question. I have 3 different burgers. That has that price, that one has that price. How can one burger have 2 different prices? Now I told this to my husband. He said, because one has a special sauce on it. No, like just don't be like that. Just one burger, a hamburger from McDonald's. It cannot have 2 different prices. It only has one price. So that's what makes this, I guess, not a function is what we're going to say. Not a function. Okay, so x is equal burgers, y equals prices. Stupid, I know, but that's really the only way I can think that it makes sense. All right, so let's do one example here. We'll make it simple. Is this a function? 2, 3, 4, 0, and 1, 3. So I'm going to put my little list here, 2, 4, and 1. 3, 0. Oh, I don't need to rewrite my 3. Okay, so 2 goes to 3, 4 goes to 0, 1 goes to 3. And I have 3 different burgers, and these 2 have the same price. Yes, so therefore it is going to be a function. Okay, that's finally it for today. I know that was a long one. I'm sorry. Guys, email me if you have questions on the homework. Message me on GoFormative if you have questions. Like, I'm here to help you today. So let me know what I can help you with.